I'm Paige Apgar. I'm an Eden Energy Medicine Advanced Practitioner, and today I'm going to be sharing my 5 favorite techniques for stress reduction. So what we're doing today is it's going to be an example of the type of presentation, a very short, informative presentation that I'll be doing in the new online community. That community is part of the energy balancing class subscription that is open for registration right now until Friday. And if you are interested in knowing more about that, I'm going to be posting this video on a page, and you can then find the information on that page. You'll just be clicking a button below the video. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. So these are my go-to favorites for the stress reduction techniques. Now, there are lots and lots of different techniques you can use, and the key is really to find the one that works best for you. So I'm going to start with the triple warmer reactivity hold. You've probably seen me do this one before. For this, you're going to take your fingers like this. The thumb goes on the nail of the index finger, and then the 3 fingers of the hand, the other 3 fingers go over the main neurovascular points on the forehead. These are directly above the eyes. There's a prominence there on your forehead that you should feel. So you can hold this with me now. And this just folds down so that those little loops are at your temples. So while we're holding it, I'm going to tell you when I like to use this one. This one is best for moments, and let's not just say moments, for people who have a really high and reactive stress level. So that means that you might go into panic or anxiety. It could be the kind of thing that comes on unexpectedly. It can also be predictable, related to certain triggers or situations, but it can also be the kind of panic that comes on unexpectedly and really catches you off guard and derails you. So this is a great technique for bringing yourself out of that really intense stress reaction. Now, my recommendation, if you have a pattern like that, is that you do this regularly for at least a week, meaning, I will tell people to do it every hour on the hour for the first week that they're working with it, and that it will always have a big effect. So you can do it less than that. You can find what works for you, but the more you put in, the more you're going to get out. Right? So if you really want to jump in fully and say, okay, I want to make a big change in this stress level, then I would say do it every hour on the hour for a week and see what happens. Now, you want to hold it for, let's say, up to 3 minutes. And the first time you do it, you might even hold it for 5 minutes. I usually will hold this for 2 minutes or so. And I'll tell you, this isn't one that I often find I need anymore, but it is one of my favorites to give to clients. It's rare these days that I go into kind of a reactive stress pattern. So just notice what you're feeling. I'm already feeling some relaxation. And after you've been doing this for a while and your body becomes accustomed to it, just holding it for 1 minute should really give you a good effect. Now, what I find this is most helpful for is that reactive state. So coming out of a reactive state doesn't necessarily mean that your stress level has dropped to 0 and you're back to being totally calm, right? What it really means is that it's pulling you out of an extreme state and bringing you back down to what might be more of a sort of normal stress response where you still feel a little stressed, but you're not in an extreme state. Okay, now do keep in mind that when you're working with the stress response, the triple warmer meridian, you can often feel a little bit of agitation come up. Now, that often will come in waves. You'll have a little agitation, and then it goes away, then it might come back, and it might go away again. I generally recommend that you hold until you're not feeling that kind of coming and going anymore, and you're in more of a calm, relaxed state. If you go into a state of agitation and you don't come out of that state of agitation, then it's best to stop the exercise that you're doing and try something else. Okay, that should be feeling really good. We're going to release that. And I'm curious, as we go through, go ahead and put in the comments anything that you're noticing, anything that's coming up for you, because I'm curious to hear what you find. Okay, now we're going to go to the, here's one. Let's see what it's saying. She's feeling tightness in the chest area. Okay, and that, I'm guessing you're saying as a response to doing that exercise. So that then would indicate to you that this is part of the stress patterning, probably has to do with the heart. The heart has a survival response, often with a triple warmer or stress pattern. You'll find that the heart is involved, and you might feel some pressure in the heart or tension in the chest. So it's good information for you. All right, the next one we're going to do, and see what happens as we go through all of these. That will also be interesting. The next one is the main neurovascular hold. This is very simple. We're going back to those same points, these neurovasculars on the forehead. Again, it's prominences on your forehead directly above the eyes, but we're just going to hold both with one hand. Now, this helps with emotional stress reduction. And this is one that I like to do a lot at night. So I use it when I'm going to sleep at night, when I'm lying in bed. You can hold this for a very long time. I recommend a minimum of 2 minutes or 3 minutes, but sometimes I'll hold this for 10 minutes. It's another good time to use it is in the middle of the night if you wake up. I know a lot of people have trouble with sleep. There are a variety of techniques I use waking up in the middle of the night. That would be another topic for a short presentation. And this is one of them. Now, when you hold any of these things, you can get into a nice, comfortable position, right? So you can prop yourself, whatever works and is comfortable. The more relaxed you are in terms of your posture, the easier it'll be for your body to relax. We'll give this one a couple minutes. Now, this is part of these main neurovasculars are part of all of the elemental holds. So some of you may be familiar with those. I'm not going to go into those right now. I do have those on YouTube, in videos on YouTube. And you can combine holding your forehead like this with putting your hand in a lot of different places on your head. And you can kind of play around and see what feels really good to you, because you have neurovascular points all over the head that help with releasing on a deep level, and particularly emotional releasing. And I always breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth, the same way we do with all of our eat-in exercises. Okay, so you should be starting to notice, I like to say that the energy takes a little time to engage. 2 minutes is usually the average that I like to give something. And again, with this one, you can get waves, just like I was saying with the last one. Particularly with these main neurovasculars, you can get waves of emotion. So if you hold this for 5 or 10 minutes, you're going to get lots of waves that come through. And they should come up and then move out. Come up and move out. And each time something like that happens, it's a nice release. The other great thing about the neurovasculars is that you can bring to mind something that's a stressor for you. And if you think about it while you're holding these, you can retrain your body's response to that stressor. Okay, so we're going to release that, but you can certainly hold that longer when you do these later. All right, so the next one is working with this point here at the base of the throat. That's a triple warmer neurovascular point. And then the other points that we're going to hold, so we're just going to put one hand there right over that. And the other points are just above your navel. What I like to do is if you line up your pinky with your navel and then fold your hand up, you're going to be over the points. These are the adrenal points. They're the same points that we rub when we do the neurolymphatics. What we're doing is we're creating harmony here between the triple warmer stress response and the adrenal points. I'll sit back just a bit so you can see both of my hands. Same thing here. We're going to hold for 2 minutes to give it time to engage. I recommend 2 minutes or 3 minutes if you're holding this on your own. I find this one to be a really nice one. And one thing that I like about it is that because we're incorporating this point at the throat, we're getting into an aspect of the stress response that involves feeling in control versus feeling out of control. And a lot of times stress reactions have a lot to do with feeling a lack of control on some level. So when we hold this point at the throat, we address that aspect of the stress response. So breathing. You also have a nice opportunity with any of these to bring in some mindfulness, mindful awareness, and follow your breath, which will amplify the effect that you're getting. And it is nice to close your eyes and really let yourself sink into it. And the hand at the throat is just resting here. You're just connecting. You're not grabbing your throat. Now, if I'm doing this in a moment of stress, I'm going to want to sit down and hold this until I feel like I've shifted out of that stress state. And you may not feel like you've shifted out completely, but you should feel some shift. Remember to give yourself the time that you need for these things. You got to work with your body. Your body's trying to relax, trying to calm down. Remember, there are lots of patterns going on, so you have to give it the support it needs so that it can get there. And then, of course, the more often you do these things, the more you train your system to come out of a stress response more quickly, to come back to a nice state of calm. Your body will respond more and more quickly to the holds when you do them. Okay, so we're going to release that. And the next one is a really simple one. This is just holding the heart. And this is really probably one of my favorites. I like to hold the heart center. So that's the heart chakra at the center of the chest. And just see what you notice. I find that the heart really feels unstable sometimes in a stress reaction, right? It has that survival response, like I mentioned a minute ago. So this would be a great follow-up for the person who said that she was feeling tension in her chest or around her heart. This would be the next thing that I would go to, because you're soothing the heart, you're comforting the heart. You can also sway a little bit. I mean, if something comes up, a movement comes up for you, by all means, go ahead and go with it. That's your body asking for something. So it's very soothing for us to sway. And it's also very soothing to kind of cradle the heart. And breathe. And there's a little movement of energy from my system. So we'll just give this another few breaths. And of course, you can also always build in little mantras for yourself with working with your breath. Things like, I'm safe, all is well. Just feeling safe is huge. That's kind of a root cause of stress. Okay, that's good. So how's everyone doing? Go ahead and put in the comments if you have anything you want to share, something that might have come up. And Lydia had said that her right temple was tender, and that's interesting. That was after I think that was after the first thing we did. The right temple is also, well, both the temples are also triple warmer neurovascular points. So that's curious that it brought that up. And Liz was saying that she also uses that in the middle of the night. That was probably the neurovasculars. Okay, good. So we have one more. This last one involves a little bit of energy psychology. So this is very simple, though. We're going to put the hand over the heart itself, so over the organ. And then you're going to tap on the back of the hand on this triple warmer point, which is between the pinky and the ring finger, down about an inch from the knuckles. So we're just going to tap there and hold over the heart. You usually tap for about a minute and just breathe. And again, be aware of how you're holding your heart. So awareness to the hand that's over the heart, and feel if that's a nice, soft, gentle touch that you're using. If you're, comforting your heart with your hand, or are you pressing and trying to make something happen, right? So be aware of how you approach the exercise. Because our bodies need soothing when we're in a stress response. They don't need us to try and wrangle it down and force it to stop. That doesn't generally help very much, and that can actually sometimes make things worse. And then you can stop tapping and just hold for a minute and breathe. This is a good one to use if there's a situational stress going on. You kind of think about what's happening and tap as you think about it. And then you can switch hands and do the same thing. So we're just getting both sides of the body. And again, we're on the triple warmer meridian line with this point. This is called the fear point. Okay. So that is it. Those are my 5 favorites. Again, you have to experiment with those and see what works for you. Try some others. And that is it for today. Nice, short, and sweet. Hopefully that makes it easy to consume for you after the fact. And thank you all for joining me. And if you are interested in finding out how you can join the community and you're watching this after the fact, just click the button below the video and you can find out all about that. Registration ends this Friday. Let's see, we have a couple of comments. Cynthia, does this last heart tapping work with affirmations? Yeah, that's one way that people use it. There are so many different variations actually on that last technique. I try not to get too hung up on exactly how long you're tapping and then counting, and which is in some of them. Some people use affirmations like a positive affirmation for a certain situation. So again, if you're in a situational stress moment, then you can bring in like a positive affirmation. I'm safe is always a big one. This will resolve easily, or I can handle this situation. I'm capable. Those kinds of things can be helpful. Let's see what else we had here. Kathy, you are very welcome. Oda, you're welcome. And Lydia, you're welcome. Okay, well, great. All right. Thanks, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day. Take care. Victoria said she didn't even know she was stressed, but feeling much calmer. Yeah, isn't that funny? That happens with me too. You know, it's like you realize that there was a little something that wanted to release. And I think sometimes it's not that we're even in a stress moment, but sometimes we're dipping into something else that just is ready to release some all kinds of good benefits. Okay, bye-bye.